The Red Crystal Nebula by Alison Maxwell. Seconds tick. 58, 57, 56. Louise! 53, 52, 51. Are you there? Did she bid enough? 48, 47. White orchid, tall pagoda perfume bottle, or... This piece, she read, has a pearlized bloom on translucent hues of purple and brown, imbued with the mystical East. The mystical East. Tea ceremonies and silk kimonos, still pools in a symmetry of hand-raked gardens. For a moment, her inward gaze rests on the tranquil scene. But the seconds are tumbling. 27, 26, 25. Louise! What a fool. She should have gone higher. 20, 19, 18, 200, 229. Quick! Stabbing out the numbers, waiting for the prompt. Confirm bid. Yes. Yes! Highest so far. But she'll get gazumped. It always happens, always. Congratulations. You've just won this item. She slumps forward, gaping at the screen. Pay now or continue shopping with this seller? Louise! Her husband's voice calling. She is oblivious. He comes into the room and stops short at the sight of his wife's face ghostly in the monitor. Louise, did you not hear me call? She does not react. He comes a little closer. Have you found something nice on the net? Show me. She shrugs, and he squeezes her shoulder, the bones prominent beneath the skin. Come on, he says. Scrambled egg, just a little. Butter toast, raspberry jam. He leaves. She reluctantly follows. In the kitchen, he cracks open a couple of eggs into a bowl, and all the while talking to her of this and that. The cow calved, a heifer. Oh, the primroses are a wonder above in the hill field. The full moon these nights. Do you remember the day? But she's looking out the window away from the gloop in the bowl. He sees it all the same. 5, 6 years ago only. And she big and beautiful with child, hurrying in from the garden, basket full of soft yellow petalled flowers, demanding vases and jugs and the shiny copper coal scuttle. Hurrying out again for moss and ivy and entwining the whole into a ferny woodland. When he teased her that she took so much trouble over a fleeting creation, she twisted her arms about him, said someday he'd understand. He sets a small dish of food before her. She smiles, starts to talk. The cow calved, you say? A heifer? Primroses. She'd like to see them. She might take a walk up the field tomorrow. Conversation falters. Picking up a fork, she shovels the food into her mouth, swallowing hard. As she gets up to go, he thinks of some way to delay her. You'll help with the washing up. She takes the dishcloth and he breathes easier, willing the meagre nourishment to flow swiftly into all the shadowed spaces in the body which once were supple and strong. But it's completed in less than 5 minutes, not long enough. So he tries something else. Could you have a look at Muddy's paw? He asks. I think there's a thorn. They both look towards Muddy, the elderly collie, stretched out by the stove, ears twitching in sleep, with no concerns. Joe stoops and pretends to examine the paw nearest him, but when he turns, he sees the kitchen door closing. He listens for the creak on the bathroom floor upstairs. When he hears it, he starts to hum, to bang saucepans, to call on the gods to have mercy on his tormented wife. Louise gets rid of her supper down the toilet and presses her face against the cool white enamel, trying hard to think what it was. Yes, something about a pagoda. A vase, wasn't it? Marbled in pink and grey. But surely she'd got that a week or two back. A bulky package. No, a perfume bottle. Perfume? That was it. Satisfied, she pulls her dressing gown around her and steps into the corridor, pauses by the study. There are several pieces she's been watching, just watching for her collection. She slides into the chair, bends to turn on the power. The gods, of course, have their own unfathomable agenda. Out in the barn, the calf totters on spindly legs and nuzzles into the mother, who turns to lick the fuzzy forehead and heave the odd low murmur of encouragement. Joe rests his torch on a bale of straw and lights a cigarette, and he lets his hand drop to pet the collie beside him. They both watch steam rising off the cow's body, the long sweep of the calf's eyelashes, the warm smell of beast and manure, the swoop of unseen bats overhead, the slurpy suckle of a newborn. The barn has few inhabitants now. Once it gave shelter to 84 dairy cows, a herd painstakingly built up by his grandfather and father on land enriched with seaweed year by year, the stones picked and shaped to walls, the soil ploughed, harrowed to a fine tilth, the pasture sown and irrigated, the stock bought at mart in 2s and 3s, as funds allowed. The collie stands, head cocked. "What is it, girl?" Following her into the yard, he scans the void with the beam of his torch. At the turf shed she stops and barks. "Who's there?" His voice loud in the night. "Who's there?" He shines light in on the low mound of turf. It's Louise's cat. The cat's been slouching about for days, her belly scraping the ground. Now she's made a nest from an old sack and is mouthing placenta from a bundle of fur. He fetches a milk bucket and fills it to the brim with lukewarm water. Gathering the 5 blind, squirming bodies, he puts them in the bucket, lid shut. The yard is calm, the house silent. The only sign of life is an opaque glimmer from the room beyond and a dim shadow of Louise on the wall. As her world becomes boundless, connecting with heaven knows where by a bounce of cold steel into space, so she is shrinking from him. Perhaps, if there'd been children, well. Louise leans forward in a spasm of excitement. "Red crystal Nebula perfume bottle, stunning design." "Each unique piece," she reads, "tells a story that fires your imagination, brings its own colour to enchant your world." She can see it now. Swirls of creamy bronze on the deep ruby-rich surface, sun glancing off its glow. But when does the bidding end? The screen flickers. She's too late. For such a thing of beauty, she's sure to be too late. At the back door, Joe heels off his boots and pads across the kitchen. Reaching for a mug and instant coffee, he disturbs a letter on the counter, its sealed flap impaled with the bank's logo. Without opening it, he chucks it into the stove. Might as well be there as anywhere. They're out of coffee. He does the shopping, what little they need, at a new place that's opened off the main road where no one knows them. Meeting people is awkward. The pitying looks, whispers loud enough to hear. Other than the vet, the sole visitor to the farm is the postman. Joe tries to save them both embarrassment by staying out of sight, as numerous parcels for Louise are left by the gate. Sometimes he's not quick enough, and the man gives an awkward wave, shouting, "I won't come in," as though he might be invited. His father hadn't any time for lounging about in the kitchen. He had a farm to run, a herd to look after. Not for him a plague on his grassland, the cows sickly, dropping their malformed fetuses, animals dying or dead. The vet's instructions to burn bodies in the field where they'd grazed, his hint of harm to humans. Joe turns to abruptly, and the mug falls and shatters on the tiled floor. He stares at the pieces for a time. "Muddy," he calls to the collie. "Come on, Muddy." Louise shivers. A strange disquiet steals up on her. No humming, no cajoling to come for a stroll or see a streak of moonlight on the barn roof, or to eat, the table laid as if for a banquet. Man and collie set off down the path towards the river. For this he needs no torch. He's walked it at least twice a day for most of his 37 years, and besides, the moon is full. The bend at the birch grove, planted by his father. A slope before the derelict cottage where once his grandfather lived. The well deep and echoey, water cold and diamond clear, now deemed unfit for consumption. "Large ginger jar special commission." She doesn't have a ginger jar. Its fat, squat shape would perfectly complement the slender Nebula bottles when arranged. And that day will come. One day she will, oh, so carefully unpack all her treasures and release their loveliness to the light. At the disused pigsties, Joe bears right, and is soon going along the ditch and past the spot where the fox's den once was. But what's this? She peers closer. The winning bidder will receive the jar via recorded delivery. No, that's no good. How's she to know when the postman will descend? He's so erratic. And he runs away whenever she appears. No, that won't do. It'll have to be something else. Joe closer now to the river. The water just beyond that field. She scrolls down. Golden coppice posy of ours, rare, produced for 1 year only. She clicks on the image. The screen fills with a finely wrought tendril of fern and the soft yellow petals of a primrose. Joe steps forward through the swamp bed of reeds. Tendril of fern, soft yellow petals of a primrose, bidding, yes, now. Joe stands high on the bank of the river, where as a boy he had fished and swam. Seconds tick. 58, 57, 56. Far from the rushing torrents Joe had imagined, he sees the water level is low. Seconds tick. 55, 54, 53. The dry spell has taken its toll. Seconds tick. 52, 51, 50. The gods will have their little jokes. The red crystal nebula. Am I bidding enough?